Get ready to enter the Thrive Time Show.
We started from the bottom, now we here. We started from the bottom and we'll show you how to get here. Started from the bottom, now we here. We started from the bottom, now we here.
We started from the bottom, now we're on the top. Teaching you the systems to get what we got. Colton Dixon's on the hooks, I break down the books. Z's bringing some wisdom and the good looks. As the father of five, that's why I'm alive. So if you see my wife and kids, please tell them hi. It's the C&Z up on your radio. And now 3, 2, 1, here we go.
We started from the bottom, now we here. We started from the bottom and we'll show you how to get.
Dave.
Yes, sir.
Welcome back to Tulsa, my friend.
Thank you.
Hey, you are the Thriver of the month.
Again.
You scored the most points. You're like a I don't know what you're like. You're like an American honey badger. You are a living legend amongst the Thrive Nation, my friend. Tell the folks at home, what was your tip? What was your regimen? How did you do it? How did you score the most points? Were you on steroids? What were you doing?
I really enjoy watching the videos. I've only been doing this for 6 months, and
Yeah.
I truly enjoy watching it. It's entertaining,
Yeah.
and I learn stuff. And that's, I take 5-10 minutes out of my day, or some days I'll have free time. I'll have it on the background on my PC.
Yeah.
I love the tests. I love
Okay.
the tests. I think that it's the greatest part. It really makes you think. And every little thing, it reinforces stuff. And then I go back to things. Like if I miss a test question,
Yeah.
well, I go back and I say, where did I miss it? Mm-hmm. And then I go forward again and catch it.
Well, what has me excited is that you're applying the principles you're learning. You're looking to purchase a business right now. And today we are talking specifically about how to negotiate the sale of a business. And I'm going to read this notable quotable from Warren Buffett. A lot of people who are watching this might not know, but I'm going to give you a little bit of a history of Warren Buffett. Warren started off, he's a self-made billionaire. When I say billionaire, his company today, Berkshire Hathaway, as of this morning, is worth $182 billion. But he started this business himself. Basically, he had friends and family invest in him, and he was able to take that and grow it and grow it and grow it and grow it. And today, he personally is worth over $69.7 billion. But it all started with him investing in a little piece of land when he was still a teenager, and investing in a pinball machine when he was still a teenager. And he took the profits from the pinball machine and from the land he invested. He was basically bought a little piece of land and he leased it out to farmers. And he kept reinvesting it, and so today he's one of the world's wealthiest people. And so he says this quote. He says, a cigar butt found on the street that only has one puff left in it may not offer much of a smoke, but the bargain purchase will make the puff all profit. And as we discussed in our episode about how to value a business, the thing Warren Buffett's all about is he's all about going in there and finding a cigar that's just gross and nasty and wet and somebody left it on the road, and he's all about picking it up and taking one more puff. Why? Because you probably can buy that last puff for a pretty cheap price. And I'm not advocating smoking cigars, but what I'm saying is that when you're buying a business, you want to find one that's at the bottom of the cycle and the value. You want to find one that you want to be greedy when the market is fearful. You want to find a business right when it's at the bottom. Warren Buffett's next quote, he shares with us about how to negotiate. He says, we simply attempt to be fearful when others are greedy and to be greedy when others are fearful. What's he talking about? He's saying if everyone says, buy this stock, buy this company, the value of it is so high, he goes, too high, I'm going to wait till it's low. When the stocks get low, like when the big crash happened and the Bank of America stocks were at the all-time low, he says, that's my time to buy. So again, Warren Buffett's saying when things are bad, I want to buy. When things are good, I want to sell. So if you look all across America, all these foreclosures that happened after the big crash there, so many of those homes have a Berkshire Hathaway sign in front of them. He was buying all those properties that were headed into foreclosure at the bottom. And so we want to take that same mindset on a small scale when we buy our own business or we invest in a company. We want to make sure that we are being greedy when the market is fearful and buying cigar butts. But here are the 10 principles, the 10 steps we're going to go over here on how to negotiate. Step one, you want to establish some higher authority as the decision maker. Step 2, don't say, throw out a number. Step 3, agree on the valuation method. 4, hire an independent accountant. 5, determine a price that allows you to be nearly guaranteed you won't lose money. 6, bring as little cash as possible. 7, never buy anything personally as possible. Never buying anything personally if possible. The next is establish a win-win. The next is use deadlines or deals will die. And the final thing is bring no emotion to the purchase. And so I'm going to read this quote. We're going to hop into it. Principle number 1, it says, establish some higher authority as the decision maker. Warren Buffett again says, we simply attempt to be fearful when others are greedy and to be greedy when others are fearful. Well, how does that tie into this? What Warren is saying is that when you go to buy this business and you're negotiating, in particular, you're looking at buying a gym, right? Is that right?
Well, one of the things I'm looking at, yes.
So you're looking at a gym. What else are you looking at?
We were looking at a gym. We were looking at businesses in a certain area.
Okay.
Primarily for my fiance
Okay.
to handle.
Okay.
Because I'm happy what I do, but eventually I'll jump off to that.
Yeah.
We looked at a gym. We looked at several liquor stores. She doesn't drink, but she's in love with the idea of liquor stores.
There's a liquor store in Minnesota near the hotel I stayed at recently called the Liquor Pig, if you're in the market. I don't know if they're selling, but it's a great name. Anyway, so moving on here. If you're watching this and you work at the Liquor Pig or you know of the Liquor Pig in St. Cloud, this goes out to you. But here we go. So the thing is, though, is that you want to establish some higher authority. So when you go meet with the liquor store or the gym or whoever it is, this is just something I'd encourage you to jot down. You want to say, no matter what you say, when you talk to them, say, I'm going to take this information and go back and talk to my partners. Partners. What partners? Well, you want to buy your business, if you can, with an LLC. You want to buy it using a company. You don't want to buy it using your name, because if you ever got sued, you don't want them to sue you. You don't want them to sue the company. But you want to tell them that you're basically working with some partners.
How do you mention that?
Are you unloading some cash here for us? Is that what's going on?
I formed an LLC.
Sweet. This just in. I'm going to block off the number here. This is the right way.
Right Way LLC.
Folks at home, there it is. Real proof, real data.
That's an LLC with its own Paydex.
With its own, right there. Really?
Yes.
So here's the deal. I'm just covering up the other numbers. I'm going to cover the other numbers. Here we go. But you want to establish that you want to talk to your partners. And why do you want to do that?
So you don't have to make a decision right away, and you can defer. I don't know why.
Good cop, bad cop.
Okay.
The guy you're working with, the partners, are always the bad cop. It'll make sense later. But I'd say, David, I love what you showed me today. I think your liquor store seems like potentially a good investment. I kind of like it. I don't know if my partner does. I'm going to have to go talk to my partners. And the reason why is because in your partner, you can come back and you're like, yeah, I talked to my partners. They think it's way overpriced. And you can play this game a little bit, and I promise you it's much easier to negotiate. Now, the second principle, don't say, throw out a number. So the owner will usually say, well, how much are you willing to pay? Or how much are you willing to put in? Or what's the, how much are you guys looking to spend? Don't answer the question, and then don't say, just tell us a number. Don't do that, okay? So I'm going to give you this little quote from Sun Tzu. This is the guy who wrote The Art of War. This is the Chinese, he was a Chinese military expert, and he's just famous for his strategies. And what he says is, if you know the enemy and know yourself, you need not fear the results of 100 battles. What's he talking about? I'm saying is if you go in there and you know exactly how much money you have to spend, or you want to spend, and you know what the company's worth because you've started to do your research. If you know what the company's worth and you know what you're willing to spend, you shouldn't be fearful of that situation. But what happens is a lot of times is we get emotionally attached to the business and we want to buy it, and then we don't really know what their business is worth. We don't know what their cards are, but they know ours. And so you don't want to get in a situation where they've established real quick how much you have to spend, or how much. You just want to not hold your cards close. The third principle is you want to agree on the valuation method. And we've talked about this in a previous episode, but I want to make sure I flash these up on the screen because there's 4. It's very important that we talk about this. Are they going to be using future income? Are they determining the value based on future income? Or number 2, are they determining the value based on the assets, the actual stuff? So option 1, are they determining the value based on how much money they make per year using their money? A business is just a money machine. So are you valuing the business based on how much money it makes you a year? 2, are you valuing the business based on what the assets are or how much stuff you own? The third is, are you determining it based on liquidation? Like you're going out of business, holy crap, we got to sell everything. If the business is dead and you're saying, I need to sell it right now, are you valuing it that way? Or are you valuing it based on comparisons, based on what other businesses have sold for? But you want to go ahead and bring it up right away. Hey, what's the valuation method that you're using to determine the value? So again, step 1, I go in and I say to this person, hey, my partners and I like the property, we like to come see it, like the business, we want to come see it. Then when you talk to them, you say, they say, well, how much are you willing to spend, David? And you say, well, my partners and I, we're trying to get, make sure we find the right investment for us. How are you evaluating the business? How are you evaluating it? That's step 3. Now, 4th is you want to hire an independent accountant. Why do we want to hire an independent accountant? Well, let me give you this notable quotable. It says, only the paranoid survive. Andy Grove. This is the guy who was the CEO of Intel. But his backstory is he actually came from the communist-controlled Hungary, the country of Hungary, and he ended up escaping, and then he ended up basically putting his way through college, getting himself through college, and becoming the CEO of Intel. And what he talks about is that you have to have a conspiracy theory that what someone is saying to you is not true. So we need to hire an independent accountant. It's not your accountant or his accountant, but an accountant who can verify that what they're saying to you is real. Example, recently there was a business that I did not invest in and I did not work with. But the guy comes into my office and he's trying to tell me his business is rocking, it's growing, we're doing all these great things. And I said, can I see your tax returns for 2013 and 14? Well, it's none of my business, he says. It's none of your business. Well, I'm like, well, if I'm thinking about buying a business or evaluating a business or helping you raise money, it is my business. So can I see their tax returns from 2013 and 2014? It's none of your business. That's the kind of guy you don't want to work with. You want an independent accountant who can verify that the returns he's showing you are real. I've even seen people go as far as to falsify their tax returns to raise the value of a property or business. So hire an independent accountant. Principle number 5, determine a price that allows you to be nearly guaranteed you won't lose money. We've talked about the Warren Buffett quote, but I'm going to read it again because no one thinks like this. It's a total different thought process. But he says, a cigar butt found on the street that has only one puff left in it may not offer much of a smoke, but the bargain purchase will make the puff all profit. Again, Warren Buffett, what's he talking about? He's saying you want to buy that business for as cheaply as you possibly can. So specifically with the gym you're looking at right now, have you guys talked any numbers about how much? Okay, so are you, in terms of the sales price, is it way out of control, too high? Is what are you asking for? What's he asking for?
They're giving it away for less than liquid value.
Why?
Because there's a lease involved that's a little high, and they're willing to work on the lease and bring the lease down. But the gym structure originally went from, people would pay $30 or $40 a month to now $19 a month. They have those $9 a month gyms and $19 a month gyms where people, they get the membership for $10 a month. If I show up once a year, I'm still ahead. I have a gym membership. I feel good about myself.
Yeah. And here's what I'm going to say, and I mean this I don't want to be horrible, but what happens is most people, have you ever seen somebody who dresses up and they look sharp, and then you saw them at the store on a Saturday morning about 8 a.m., you're just trying to get some avocados and, do your business, and you see them and you're like, and they just look totally different than how they normally look. You just kind of, oh man, you know what I mean? You saw them in a different context. They're normally all dressed up, looking sharp, and then you see him and you're like, oh man.
A good example would be a woman without her makeup.
Okay. Well, you know what I'm saying though. You know what I mean? It's a deal where, and so this is what happens is, most people are not stupid if they're trying to sell a business. And what they're going to do is they're going to try to put a decorative box on top of the actual business, and they're just going to slide it right over the business, put a bow on it, make it look good. Well, I'll show you some ways we make it look good, just to give you an example. One is I might lay off, I personally wouldn't do this, I'm just saying that this is the mindset of a lot of these diabolical people. They will lay off people right before they want to sell a business. Why? Because it shows profits. Like, wow, we had a great year, right? Another thing is what they'll do is they'll go in there and they'll basically slash salaries. Another move is they'll get customers to prepay, like in a gym. Well, one buddy of mine totally got screwed when he bought a gym because he looked at the revenue. It's like, man, things are going great. This is the numbers they said. What happened is they charged all the customers at the front of the year for the whole year. Gave them the ridiculous price. You don't say it's normally $19 a month. They're like, for $10 a month, you can, if you just pay up front $120, you can go ahead and get your membership, right now and save half. Well, everyone prepaid. It showed sweet revenue. Like, man, we're growing like you wouldn't believe, right? They lied about their numbers. and then he owns it, and he's like, oh. You know what I mean? So what we want to do is you want to have this independent accountant. And this accountant, their job is to view all of this as BS. BS, Bachelor of Science. That's what that stands for. But they're going to view all this as sort of BS. They're going to say, I don't believe you. And you want to have that accountant who kind of raises that eyebrow a little bit. He's like, well, I don't know about that. You know, well, I don't know about that. You want that accountant who's kind of, well, he's got to be kind of the guy with very little hair on top. He's got to have hair just mostly on the sides. And he's kind of, well, I don't know. But you want the guy who's got the pocket thing going on here, and he's got the pens. He's got a variety of pens. He might even have a TI calculator in there. And he's the kind of guy who's, you know, that's the kind of, and he's got he's wearing like a bow tie, kind of that kind of guy. And he's got a short sleeve shirt on, and that's the kind of guy that you want. You don't want to work with a guy you don't want to work with a guy like me. You want to deal with a guy who seems excitable. You want to deal with the kind of the accountant who's just like, he's got the one eyebrow raised, and he's like, that's just BS.
Got to have the HP 12C.
You want a guy who's a little bit crotchety to be your guy here. So I'm making sure when you get get a guy who's just old, seen it all, done it all, negative, sarcastic, cynical. You're just a guy you probably don't want to go out for a beer with. That's the guy you want to be your accountant on this. So I'm just being real. Okay. Now, principle number 5 is you want to determine a price that allows you to be nearly guaranteed you won't lose money. Okay. What am I talking about? Well, I'm saying at the end of the day, let's say the accountant comes back. This is what's going to happen. This guy's going to say the business is worth $300,000. Your accountant's going to come back and say, nope, it's worth $200,000. If it's worth $200,000, buy it at $150,000. Bring it down again. Bring it down 15, 20%. Buy it at a price where it's so freaking low that even if you are the worst business owner in the history of American, business, then you still will be okay. You want to factor everything going to hell. Because here's the problem, is a lot of people, they buy these small businesses, and the business is called, it's called TJ's Grill. Let's go TJ's Bar and Grill. That's probably better. And then you put an E on the end of it so it feels fancier. TJ's Bar and Grill. This is the restaurant, right? So everyone loves TJ's. TJ's has a little bit of a following. You know, every night people come into this restaurant and they're walking in the door and they're going, oh man, I've been coming to TJ's Bar and Grill for, 27 years, and I love TJ's Bar and Grill because there's TJ, there's a bar, and there's a grill. You got TJ, got the bar, got the grill, got the trifecta going. 1, 2, 3. Well, then you come in and buy it. And you change the sign, because you're going, I'm not TJ, I'm David, So you put up here David's, David, all you do is change a couple letters. David's Bar and Grill. People come in, they're going, where's TJ? And you say, well, he's no longer here. I'm the new owner. And they will piss off. I hate you. You're like, why? Because I don't want change. And so you'll lose a lot of customers just from new management, in a lot of businesses. So and when that happens, what happens to your revenue? It comes down. Your revenue goes way down. Most businesses, when they buy a business, I'm just going to tell you this, the first year, no matter what research stats you look at, they're going to lose at least 20% on average the first year of revenue. So when you buy a business, you're going to do 20% less revenue the next year. Why? Because you don't know what you're doing. We've never had a bar, we've never had a grill. We're not TJ. We don't have the blue sky. We don't have we don't have kind of that swag. We don't have, no one in the neighborhood knows us. We don't have the goodwill. We don't have the loyal customers who just come there because they like you. TJ probably has people driving 27 miles to get a hamburger on Tuesdays because they've done it for 10 years. But people aren't going to do that for you. They're going to be like, I'm looking for a new place. So I'm just telling you, the new ownership thing, just be careful of that, okay? Now the next thing we want to factor in here is you want to bring as little cash as possible. As little cash as possible. Now, Warren Buffett says this quote. He says, I have pledged to you, he's talking to his shareholders, I have pledged to you, the rating agencies, and myself, to always run Berkshire with more than ample cash. We never want to count on the kindness of strangers, aka bankers, in order to meet tomorrow's obligations. When forced to choose, I will not trade even a night's sleep for the chance of extra profits. What he's saying here is that TJ might have 2 locations. And he might say, hey, you know what? I've got each location for $150,000. I'm willing to sell them to you, though, as a combo. I'm going to sell both of them to you for $250,000. And you really know that financially, you don't have enough money to buy that with enough reserves. But you're like, well, I could stretch. And then you get yourself in that bind. So what we want to do is we want to put as little cash into the game as possible. We want to keep our cash very little down, just very little down. So how do you put little down? Well, you've got three primary ways you can buy this business quickly without a lot of money down. So I'm going to give you an example. One is you say owner finance. So you do is you go to the guy and you say, hey guy, I'm going to give you, let's say you want to buy one of these for $150,000. You say, I'm going to go ahead and give you 10% down. Now I'm going to make payments every month, not to a bank, but to you. So you can go on your boat and you can go retire, and I'm going to pay you. I'm not paying the bank, I'm paying you directly. Well, the benefit for him is that you're going to make payments to him, plus interest, is that he might be able to make a little more in the end. But the benefit for you is you don't have to deal with the bank. Now, option number two is you go out here and you say this is traditional finance. And this is a deal where, again, what you do is you say, I'm going to go down, I'm going to put 20% down, usually is what the bank will require, sometimes more. 20% down, plus payments and interest. But that model sucks in comparison to this, because you have to talk to the bank. The bank's going to want to see all your tax records. They're going to want to hold you accountable all the time. They're going to have minimum balance checking, where they'll check on you all the time if you don't have a certain amount in the bank. They're going to have oversight looking at your numbers. They're going to want an updated P&L. They're going to want financial statements. So a lot of times that, for a lot of entrepreneurs, I think we need to mature as entrepreneurs at some point and start to do that stuff. But owner finance is the best. The second is financing through the bank. Okay, so this is the bank finance option. And the third is a rev share. So what you're doing is you're saying, hey, TJ, I'm going to go ahead and pay you 10% of all the gross revenue, or 5% of all the gross revenue. Not the bottom line, but the top line. 5% of all gross revenue until you're paid back. And I'm going to come in with just a very little down. I might even put 5% down so that you know that I'm not crazy. So under these models, and you see this all the time in big business. A lot of times you see news stories, they say, such and such was sold for $1.5 billion. Well, did somebody really write a check for $1.5 billion? Did somebody actually transfer? A lot of times, no. They just say, we're going to share revenue, we're going to give you some stocks, The point is, if I could choose my perfect world is this one. For any entrepreneur out there, it's revenue share, where you say, I'm going to give you 5% of the gross revenue until I pay you off. Because that's like the least risk possible. It's a sweet gig. You can get in there and be you can make every mistake possible and still stay in the game. The second is owner finance. If I can get owner finance, that's a sweet gig too. And the third, the least desirable, is traditional financing, in my mind. Now, someone else watching this might go, well, I prefer traditional financing. That's fine, because you work at a bank and you like the suckers and you go in there and you do the night drop deal. You like that whole culture. That's cool. But I'm saying is for the average entrepreneur, because a lot of entrepreneurs have a ton of ambition and not enough money to keep up with it. So this is a great way to get in the game without having to mortgage your house and all that kind of stuff. And under these models, make sure we're getting this. Under all of this, everything I've just said to you, use an LLC to buy that business. Do not buy it personally. Do not buy it personally. Do not buy it personally. If you buy it personally, you put yourself in a bad spot. Because when somebody comes into our restaurant and twists their ankle, they're going to sue something, and hopefully it's not you personally. Does that make sense?
Yes, I have the LLC in my pocket.
Bam! Now the next thing we want to talk about here, principle number 7, is never buy anything personally if possible. We just said it, but it's a principle. I'm going to say it again. Never buy anything personally if possible. Robert Kiyosaki says this. Never say you cannot afford something. This is a poor man's attitude. Ask how to afford it. So I'm going to give you a whole bunch of ideas real quick. I'm going to just phantasmagoria. Okay? Conrad Hilton, a.k.a. Hilton. That's the guy who started the Hilton hotel chain. He bought a hotel with almost no money down. His first hotel, no money down. And it was all a rev share. Boom. And he continued to do this move forever. Because people, when you're ready to sell a business emotionally, you no longer like the business. You're like, I hate the business. I hate the hotel. I hate the way it smells. I hate when people say, excuse me, do you have a towel? No, I don't have a towel. I hate, people get surly. You know what I mean? Guys like me are like, hey, do you guys have a toothbrush? And I come back 2 minutes later. Hey, do you guys have any deodorant? Come back 2 minutes later. Hey, is there any way that, can you valet my car? I swear to, people who are wanting to sell their hotel, they're pissed. So this guy wanted to get rid of the hotel. He was very pissed off. And Conrad goes up to him and says, hey, I don't have any money. He didn't say that, but this is the idea. I don't have any money, but I'd like to share it. So I think the way he phrased it was, hey, I'd love to run your hotel. I realize it's stressful for you. I'll run it, and then I'll pay you 5% of the gross revenue until I pay you back for the whole thing. And they're like, really? Yeah, you're done. So I can leave today, right now? Yeah, you never have to come to work again. Sweet! And then the guy gave him the hotel. So that actually is a real story. That happened. Another guy named Ruffin. I'm hoping our program observer can add this to the glorious screen here. He's the guy who bought the Treasure Island casino there in Vegas. He's worth billions of dollars now. This guy bought his first gas station with this model. Again, no money down. He's like, hey, I don't have any money, but what I can do is I can work for it. Okay? Another guy who got into the game this way. It's a little bit different, but Starbucks? What? Yeah, these guys ran Starbucks for years, and it was very unsuccessful. It was they sold roasted beans, and they sold coffee grinders. They never thought they would sell actual retail coffee to people. And Howard Schultz comes in, and he's like, I'd love to work here, and I'd love to grow this thing. And he didn't have a whole lot of capital. He put some capital, but more of it was like a sweat equity deal. Like he's going to put his time in, he's going to put his energy in, he's going to put a little money, but mostly time and energy into it in order to build his empire. So these are 3 examples that have really happened that are people that put very little cash into a deal. That is, and so don't have what Robert Kiyosaki is saying is he says, never say you cannot afford something, because that's a poor man's attitude. So don't, if you want to buy a hotel, and just for a fun story for you, Conrad used to go by the name Connie. His mom used to call him Connie. And he had opened a bank in his early 20s, and it failed. And so he was like, well, I guess the next step is I'll buy a hotel. So he had no money, and he had just failed in a bank. But yet he had the audacity to believe he could afford it. So you have to have that mindset to believe that you're not stuck. You have to view your current circumstances as just an illusion, and you can change those. Now, Robert Kiyosaki, he wrote the book Rich Dad, Poor Dad, best-selling author, unbelievable. His early books offer great early financial advice. I highly recommend you read The Cash Flow Quadrant and Rich Dad, Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki. It's great books. Now, the next is you want to establish a win-win. Win-win? Why? Because we're going to have this thing called grace. So I'm going to give you an example. If we go back to that restaurant example, and you buy the restaurant, but if you negotiate to the point to where the seller is not happy and you're happy, oh, you're happy. You are happy. You got a good deal. He got a bad deal. You got a good deal. You're pumped. And then about 4 weeks in, for some reason your grill stops working. You can't figure it out. The grill doesn't work anymore. And you're having mechanical problems. You're starting to have some issues. And so you go to the guy that you just screwed over and you took advantage of, and you say, hey, could you help me? I got a couple issues. I want to pick your brain. And he says, no. Because you screwed him, he doesn't want to help you, that kind of thing. But if you reverse the situation and you guys build a great relationship where he says, oh, I love this guy. I guess kind of a weird smile, but he says, I love this guy. There he is. He's smiling. He's going to smile like Darth Vader, but he's smiling Then when you have issues, this person is happy and willing to answer the phone. That looks very much like Darth Vader. But he's happy, he's having a good time. And the point is, they're more willing to help you. And you're going to need some grace when you buy the gym or you buy the business or you buy the liquor store. You're going to have a problem. And you want to have a win-win so that you get a reputation as being a guy who's good to work with. So you want to get a good deal, but you don't want to just screw people over to the point where they, hate you. You don't want to screw them over at all, actually. So we want to make sure we get that win-win. And there's a quote here that Stephen Covey has from his book, best-selling book, 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, where he says, the habit number 4 is think win-win. Think win-win. That's a habit. He has 7 habits we're supposed to do to become successful, and one of those 7 is think win-win. It's super important that you think long-term having that relationship, because you're going to have a problem when you buy the restaurant or the liquor store or the gym or whatever. Principle number 9, use deadlines or the deal will die. Napoleon Hill has this quote. He says, the time will never be just right. You must act now. But the thing is, when you start talking to them from day one, you want to begin to establish a couple things. Otherwise, the deal is going to fall apart. So you're going to say, hey, if my partners and I decide to move forward, typically, ideally, when do you want this date to close? When do you want this deal to close? You want to get that kind of going early on in the conversation. And the reason why we want to do that is because once you have that date over here, this is where you are right now. This is the date. So it's right now, it's May. And let's say that you decided they want to close in October. Then under that model, you now go, okay, well, if you need to do that, you can start working backwards going, well, I better get my appraisal done here by June. I better get that appraisal done by June. I better have my accounting done here in May. I had better make sure we've agreed on a price by, and you start to timeline it out. You know what I mean? You begin to go, okay, I need to do my accounting first, get my appraisal done second. I need to agree on the price. Okay, over here I need to figure out how I'm going to do my financing. And you need to kind of timeline that out. Now, I'm going to tell you this. This is the rule of 3. When you're trying to buy a business, I would put offers, and I would be going through this timeline with 3 businesses at the same time. I wouldn't just do one. Because you're going to get, I would say, at least 2 out of 3 times when I've got into the numbers and I've begun to really look at a business deal, you realize how bad it is. So once you kind of get into the numbers, you start to realize that's a bunch of crap. And the problem is, every time that you go through this, it still takes time. This is what it takes, time. But if we're doing 3 at the same time, it doesn't take you 3 years to find a good business. We want to keep these all going simultaneously. Does that make sense?
That makes sense.
Now, the final principle I want to share with you, in principle number 10, this is probably, I think all of these are very important, but this is one that's just, if you don't get this, you're going to lose, and you're going to lose big, and it's going to be a bad deal. And so I would like you to watch this part maybe twice, or maybe just say it 7 times in a row. Bring no emotion to the purchase. No emotion. No emotion. I'll give you an example. No emotion, no emotion, no emotion. No emotion. Not trying to offend anybody watching this, but I am trying to be real talk. All of us have met somebody who decided to get married. So right here, let's chart their love. They meet. This is Gary. Gary has met Susan, and they were kind of in the 80s. They have kind of 80s names, 90s names. Gary and Susan. They watched Miami Vice together. They were watching MacGyver together a lot. They were quad skating. They met while quad skating. So they were skating, and they just had this romance where they had the quad skates on, and he's like, "Oh, baby, you are looking good." And he had this magical ability to quad skate. And so next thing you know, they go on a date. He shows up early. He shows up with flowers. For some reason, he gave daisies. But the point is, he gave these flowers. She likes the flowers. Things are starting to move up. Pretty soon, they're just in euphoria. I wouldn't say they're in love, but they're infatuated. They're in love with the idea of being in love. Because, look, he can skate. He's just a good skater. He is, he brought me flowers, oh my gosh. And then he meets her mom. And he meets her mom, and her mom's name is Mary, and his mom's name is Mary. And it's like, oh my gosh, your mom's Mary, mine's Mary. And then they said, where are you from? And he says, from Gary, Indiana. And they're like, that's where my mother mother's from, and then pretty soon, now we're infatuated. Now we're not even talking about anything that makes sense. Now, Gary has completely different life goals from Susan, but their mom's name is Mary, he can quad skate, they've got flowers. I mean, things could not be better. So now they go ahead and get engaged. And they do a quick engagement because, we're older and we just want to have a quick engagement. We don't need a big, we just want to get it kind of elope. Well, all of a sudden, Gary the night before, Gary begins to go, I don't think I should get married. He says to the best man. I've actually been in a wedding like this before. He turns to the best man and he says, I don't think I should do this. And I'm like, well, you probably should. Well, I don't think I shouldn't. Well, you shouldn't. But I already spent $20,000 on the wedding. And I said, you spent $20,000? He's like, well, actually, we spent $40,000. And because I already spent $40,000, I can't stop now. You say, you can't stop now? Why? Why would you want to get married to Susan? You hate Susan, and you hate Susan. He's like, because we were quad skating, and I fell in love, and, we got the flowers, and then I met her mom. Her name is Mary, and my mom's name is Mary, and we're both from Gary, Indiana, and we bought $40,000 of crap, and now we definitely have to get married because the invitations have been sent. And I say, this actually happened. This is kind of personal. But I said, why would you? Who cares? Just walk, just say, I'm out, peace out, drop the mic, poof, get out of there. But instead, he says, no, I have to carry on. So he gets married, and today he's still pissed. What does this mean? What this means is that he got emotional. So the purchase of a business needs to be no emotion. So let's look at it if we were buying a business, like let's say we were dating the way we should buy a business. She quad skates, and you're like, she's attractive. Check. You meet her. Personality, terrible. Check. Don't like her. Check. Don't have anything in common. Check. Hot. Check. Mom. Don't like mom. Who cares if her name's the same? Check. Wedding. We agreed on 20. She spent 40. Right? Pretty soon, you add up your negative checks, you add up your positive checks, and you go, I'm out. Drop the mic. That's how you do it. But that's how you buy a business.
Ben Franklin close.
There you go. You buy a business, though, with no emotion. I'm going to give this to you, though. If you put the E in front, if you get this E, if you get it twisted, get it wrong, if you get the E in front of the if you start to get the E going on, what happens is you start to get this motion going. This is a bad place to be. You do not want to buy a business here. You want to buy a business like my old, crotchety, fabulous friend right over here. Where is he? What? Oh, yeah. You want to have that kind of, this is the kind of man who you want to go out and find a business for you. Because if you bring any emotion, look at that guy. He's not attractive. He's not, he can't quad skate. There's nothing romantic. His mom's not Mary. Just the point is, you don't want to have any bromance or romance going on with the business. You want to buy it because it just logically makes sense. The way that Warren Buffett says, now let's get into something that's gross that Warren Buffett talks about. Warren Buffett says, check this out. Warren Buffett says, here's this guy right here. And he is smoking this nasty stogie deal. He's smoking it. And this guy's he's a beautiful man. This guy, he's smoking his stogie, And then once he's done smoking that stogie, he drops it on the ground. It is on the ground. It is sick. It is gross. It is nasty. It's just on the ground. He says he wants to pick it up and smoke it because it's free. That's how you want to buy a business. It's gross. It doesn't even make emotional sense, but logically, it's like, it's a free puff. That's how you want to buy a business. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So buy a business when it's the bottom of the value. But none of this quad skating, dating, Gary, Indiana, meeting her mom, all that crap. Don't do that crap. Don't start getting engaged, buying flowers, buying limos, sending out invitations, doing the,
Just say no to marriage?
No, I think marriage is awesome. I married a great lady. I'm just saying, for all the folks out there, you know what I'm talking about. Have you ever been to the wedding where the person is at the wedding and they basically have spent a lot on planning the wedding, invested a lot of time in planning the wedding, but not a lot of time on thinking about the actual relationship? That's how most people buy a business. They're going, oh my gosh, it's TJ's. It's TJ's. Look at it. TJ's is this You remember when your mom and dad used to go there? That's where our parents met, is at TJ's, and it's right by our house, and it's a cute little business, and wouldn't it be nice to own that? I mean, it'd be a part of history. We could own part of history out there in Connecticut together. We could buy TJ's. No, TJ's is not what we're buying because, you want to bring no emotion to it. Make sense?
Yes.
That helpful?
Yes.
My friend, I appreciate you. You are a beautiful man, and I appreciate you coming harassing us again in Tulsa.
All right, JT, so hypothetically, in your mind, what is the purpose of having a business?
To get you to your goals. So it's a vehicle to get you to your destination.
And would you need profits to get there? I mean, when you have a business that's successful, in your mind, in your expert opinion, would you need profits to get you to your goals?
Yeah, because if you have a $15 million business, but you have $15 million of expenses, it's kind of pointless.
Holy crap!
All right, so the question I would have here for you, if you could take 10 minutes or less and see if you could save $3,000 a year by reducing your credit card fees, would you do it?
Yes, absolutely.
Holy crap!
Why would somebody out there who's listening right now who has a sane mind, why would they not go to thrivetimeshow.com/credit-card, thrivetimeshow.com/credit-card to schedule a 10-minute consultation to see if they can reduce their credit card fees by at least $3,000 a year?
Why would they not do it?
Yeah, why would they not do it?
Maybe because they didn't understand how you said the website.
This tree is a symbol of the spirit of the Griswold family Christmas.
No, that's clear. Okay, so that could be true. So I would encourage everybody to check out thrivetimeshow.com/credit-card, thrivetimeshow.com/credit-card. What would be another reason why someone would not be willing to take 10 minutes to compare rates to see if they could save $3,000 or more on credit card fees?
Maybe they think it is a waste of time and that it won't. It's not possible.
There's somebody out there that's making more than $3,000 every 10 minutes, and they're like, nah, that's not worth my time.
We getting there, right money. We getting there, right money.
There's probably someone out there
Okay.
that would think that.
Well, I'll just tell you, folks, if you're out there today and you're making less than $3,000 per 10 minutes, I would highly recommend that you go to thrivetimeshow.com/credit-card because you can compare rates, you can save money. And, the big goal, in my opinion, of building a business is to create time freedom and financial freedom. And in order to do that, you have to maximize your profits.
Holy crap!
Now, one way to maximize your profits is to increase your revenue. Another way to do it is to decrease your expenses.
It's a profit deal. It takes the pressure off.
JT, is there any other reason why somebody would not be willing to take 10 minutes to compare rates to see if they could save a total of $3,000 a year on average?
I am at a loss and I cannot think of any other.
Shampoo is better. I go on first and clean the hair. Conditioner is better. I leave the hair silky and smooth. Oh, really, fool? Really? Stop looking at me, Swan.
Well, let me tell you a good story here real quick here. I actually, years ago, compared rates with this company here called IPS. It's Integrated Payment Services. And I scheduled a consultation. I don't know that I was skeptical. I just thought, whatever, I'll take 10 minutes. I'll compare rates.
I can't tell.
You can tell me I'm a doctor.
No, I mean, I'm just not sure.
Or can't you take a guess?
Well, not for another 2 hours.
You can't take a guess for another 2 hours?
And in my case, in my particular case, I save over $20,000 a year.
Holy crap!
Wow.
Which is, like groceries when my wife goes to the organic stores.
Find everything you need today?
Yeah.
Great, okay.
Oh, God. No.
Everything okay, ma'am?
It's just that you've only scanned a few items and it's already $60. I'm so scared.
Okay, I'm a trained professional, ma'am. I've scanned a lot of groceries. I need you to stay with me.
It's just that my in-laws are in town and they want a charcuterie board.
This isn't gonna be easy, so I need you to be brave, all right? What's your name?
Patricia.
Trisha, all right. I need you to take a deep breath. We're about to do the cheese.
That's the difference between eating organic and not organic. So because my wife eats organic, I had to take the 10 minutes needed to compare rates to save the $20,000 a year on credit card fees just for one of my companies.
One question, what's the brand name of the clock? The brand name of the clock, Rod. Do we have it?
Brand name of the clock. It's an elegant from Ridgeway. It's from Ridgeway.
Let's
buy the clock
and sell the fireplace.
So I encourage everybody out there, go to thrivetimeshow.com/credit-card. You schedule a free consultation, request information. A member of our team will call you. They'll schedule a free consultation. It should take you 10 minutes or less. And they're going to compare rates and see if they can't save you more than $3,000 a year off of your credit card processing.
You were hoping what?
I wouldn't owe you money at the end of the day.
No, you don't owe us money.
Because at the end of the day, the goal of a business is to create time freedom and financial freedom. In order to do that, you need to create additional profits.
The number of new customers that we've had is up 411% over last year. We are Jared and Jennifer Johnson. We own Platinum Pest and Lawn and are located in Owasso, Oklahoma. And we have been working with Thrive for business coaching for almost a year now.
Yeah. So what we want to do is we want to share some wins with you guys that we've had by working with Thrive. First of all, we're on the top page of Google now. Okay. I just want to let you know what type of accomplishment this is. Our competition, Orkin, Terminix, they're both $1.3 billion companies. They both have 2,000 to 3,000 pages of content attached to their website. So to basically go from virtually non-existent on Google to up on the top page is really saying something. But that's come by being diligent to the systems that Thrive has, by being consistent and diligent on doing podcasts and staying on top of those podcasts to really help with getting up on with their listing and ranking there with Google.
And also we've been trying to get Google reviews, asking our customers for reviews. And now we're the highest rated and most reviewed pest and lawn company in the Tulsa area. And that's really helped with our conversion rate. And the number of new customers that we've had is up 411% over last year.
Wait, say that again. How much are we up?
411%.
Okay, so 411% we're up with our new customers. Amazing.
Right. So not only do we have more customers calling in, we're able to close those deals at a much higher rate than we were before. Right now, our closing rate is about 85%, and that's largely due to, first of all, like our Google reviews that we've gotten people really see that our customers are happy, but also we have a script that we follow. And so when customers call in, they get all the information that they need. That script has been refined time and time again. It wasn't a one and done deal. It was a system that we followed with Thrive in the refining process, and that has obviously the 411% shows that system works.
Yeah. So here's a big one for you. So last week alone, our booking percentage was 91%. We actually booked more deals, more new customers last year than we did the first 5 months. Or I'm sorry, we booked more deals last week than we did the first 5 months of last year from before we worked with Thrive. So again, we booked more deals last week than the first 5 months of last year. And it's incredible. But the reason why we have that success is by implementing the systems that Thrive has taught us and helped us out with. So.
Some of those systems that we've implemented are group interviews. That way we've really been able to come up with a really great team. We've created and implemented checklists. That way everything gets done and it gets done right. It creates accountability. We're able to make sure that everything gets done properly, both out in the field and also in our office. And also doing the podcast, like Jared had mentioned, that has really, really contributed to our success. But that, like I said, the diligence and consistency in doing those and that system has really, really been a big blessing in our lives. And also, it's really shown that we've gotten the success from following those systems.
Yeah. So before working with Thrive, we were basically stuck. Really no new growth with our business. And we were in a rut and we didn't know.
The last 3 years, our customer base had pretty much stayed the same. We weren't shrinking, but we weren't really growing either.
Yeah, and so we didn't really know where to go, what to do, how to get out of this rut that we're in. But Thrive helped us with that. They implemented those systems. They taught us those systems. They taught us the knowledge that we needed in order to succeed. Now it's been a grind. Absolutely, it's been a grind this last year. But we're getting those fruits from that hard work and the diligent effort that we're able to put into it. So again, we were in a rut. Thrive helped us get out of that rut. And if you're thinking about working with Thrive. Quit thinking about it and just do it. Do the action, and you'll get the results. It will take hard work and discipline, but that's what it's going to take in order to really succeed. So we just want to give a big shout out to Thrive, a big thank you out there to Thrive. We wouldn't be where we're at now without their help.
Hi, I'm Dr. Mark Moore. I'm a pediatric dentist. Through our new digital marketing plan, we have seen a marked increase in the number of new patients that we're seeing every month, year over year. One month, for example, we went from 110 new patients the previous year to over 180 new patients in the same month. And overall, our average is running about 40 to 42% increase month over month, year over year. The group of people required to implement our new digital marketing plan is immense, starting with a business coach, videographers, photographers, web designers. Back when I graduated dental school in 1985, nobody advertised. The only marketing that was ethically allowed in everybody's eyes was mouth-to-mouth marketing. By choosing to use the services, you're choosing to use a proven turnkey marketing and coaching system that will grow your practice and get you the results that you are looking for. I went to the University of Oklahoma College of Dentistry, graduated in 1983, and then I did my pediatric dental residency at Baylor College of Dentistry from 1983 to 1985.
Hello, my name is Charles Kolaw with Kolaw Fitness. Today I want to tell you a little bit about Clay Clark and how I know Clay Clark. Clay Clark has been my business coach since 2017. He's helped us grow from 2 locations to now 6 locations. We're planning to do 7 locations in 7 years and then franchise. And Clay has done a great job of helping us navigate anything that has to do with like running the business, building the systems, the checklists, the workflows, the audits, how to navigate lease agreements, how to buy property, how to work with brokers and builders. This guy is just amazing. He's this kind of guy has worked in every single industry. He's written books with like Lee Cockrell, head of Disney, with the 40,000 cast members. He's friends with like Mike Lindell. He does Reawaken America tours where he does these tours all across the country where 10,000 or more people show up to some of these tours. On the day-to-day, he does anywhere from about 160 companies. He's at the top. He has a team of business coaches, videographers, and graphic designers and web developers, and they run 160 companies every single week. So think of this guy with a team of business coaches running 160 companies. So in the weekly, he's running 160 companies. Every 6 to 8 weeks, he's doing Reawaken America tours. Every 6 to 8 weeks, he's also doing business conferences where 200 people show up, and he teaches people a 13-step proven system that he's done and worked with billionaires, helping them grow their companies. So I've seen guys from startups go from startup to being multimillionaires, teaching people how to get time freedom and financial freedom through the system. Critical thinking, document creation, putting it into organizing everything in their head to building into a franchisable, scalable business. Like one of his businesses has like 500 franchises. That's just one of the companies or brands that he works with. So amazing guy, Elon Musk kind of like smart guy. He kind of comes off sometimes as socially awkward, but he's so brilliant and he's taught me so much. When I say that, like Clay is like, he doesn't care what people think when you're talking to him. He cares about where you're going in your life and where he can get you to go. And that's what I like him most about him. He's like a good coach. A coach isn't just making you feel good all the time. A coach is actually helping you get to the best you. And Clay has been an amazing business coach. Through the course of that, we became friends. I was really most impressed with him is when I was shadowing him one time. We went into a business deal and listened to it. I got to shadow and listen to it. And when we walked out, I knew that he could make millions on the deal. And they were super excited about working with him. And he told me, he's like, I'm not going to touch it. I'm going to turn it down because he knew it was going to harm the common good of people in the long run. And the guy's integrity just really wowed me. It brought tears to my eyes to see that this guy, his highest desire was to do what's right. And anyways, just an amazing man. So anyways, impacted me a lot. He's helped navigate anytime I've got nervous or worried about how to run the company or, navigating competition and an economy that's like, I remember we got closed down for 3 months. He helped us navigate on how to stay open, how to get back open, how to just survive through all the COVID shutdowns, lockdowns.
I'm Rachel with Tip Top Canine, and we just want to give a huge thank you to Clay and Vanessa Clark. Hey guys, I'm Ryan with Tip Top Canine. Just want to say a big thank you to Thrive 15. Thank you to Make Your Life Epic. We love you guys, we appreciate you, and really just appreciate how far you've taken us. This is our old house, right? This is where we used to live a few years ago. This is our old neighborhood. See? It's nice, right? So this is my old van and our old school marketing, and this is our old team. And by team, I mean it's me and another guy.
This is our new house with our new neighborhood. This is our new van with our new marketing, and this is our new team. We went from 4 to 14, and I took this beautiful photo. We worked with several different business coaches in the past, and they were all about helping Ryan sell better and just teaching sales, which is awesome, but Ryan is a really great salesman. So we didn't need that. We needed somebody to help us get everything that was in his head out into systems, into manuals and scripts, and actually build a team. So now that we have systems in place, we've gone from 1 to 10 locations in only a year.
In October 2016, we grossed 13 grand for the whole month. Right now it's 2018, the month of October. It's only the 22nd. We've already grossed a little over 50 grand for the whole month, and we still have time to go. We're just thankful for you, thankful for Thrive and your mentorship, and we're really thankful that you guys have helped us to grow a business that we run now instead of the business running us. Just thank you times 1,000.
The Thrive Time Show 2-day interactive business workshops are the highest and most reviewed business workshops on the planet. You can learn the proven 13-point business systems that Dr. Zellner and I have used over and over to start and grow successful companies. I mean, we get into the specific steps on what you need to do to optimize your website. We're going to teach you how to fix your conversion rate. We're going to teach you how to do a social media marketing campaign that works. How do you raise capital? How do you get a small business loan? We teach you everything you need to know here during a 2-day, 15-hour workshop. It's all here for you. You work every day in your business, but for 2 days you can escape and work on your business and build these proven systems so now you can have a successful company that will produce both the time freedom and the financial freedom that you deserve. You're going to leave energized, motivated, but you're also going to leave empowered. The reason why I've built these workshops is because as an entrepreneur, I always wish that I had this. And because there wasn't anything like this, I would go to these motivational seminars, no money down, real estate, Ponzi scheme, get motivated seminars, and they would never teach me anything. It was like you went there and you paid for the big chocolate Easter bunny, but inside of it, it was a hollow nothingness. And I wanted the knowledge, and they're like, oh, but we'll teach you the knowledge after our next workshop. And the great thing is we have nothing to upsell. At every workshop, we teach you what you need to know. There's no one in the back of the room trying to sell you some next big get-rich-quick, walk-on-hot coals product. It's literally, we teach you the brass tacks, the specific stuff that you need to know to learn how to start and grow a business. And I encourage you to not believe what I'm saying, and I want you to Google the Z66 auto auction. I want you to Google elephant in the room. Look at Robert Zellner and Associates. Look them up and say, are they successful because they're geniuses, or are they successful because they have a proven system? When you do that research, you will discover that the same systems that we use in our own business can be used in your business. Come to Tulsa, book a ticket, and I guarantee you it's going to be the best business workshop ever, and we'll even give you your money back if you don't love it. We've built this facility for you, and we're excited to see you. We go back 8 years ago. Think about the number of clients you had back then versus the number of clients you have now. As a percentage, what has been the growth over the past 8 years, do you think? We got to inspire somebody out there who just doesn't have the time to listen to their calls.
Okay, so Clay, it's like I would go up and down from about $10,000 a month up to about $40,000, but it's up and down roller coaster. And so now we've got it to where we're in excess of 100 clients.
That's awesome.
And so I would have anywhere from 5 clients to 20 clients on my own with networking, but I had no control over it. I didn't, without the systems, you're going to be victimized by your own business.
For somebody out there who struggles with math, if you, let's say that your average number of clients was 30 and you go to 100, as a percentage, what is that?
I have doubled every year since working with you. So I've doubled in clients, I've doubled in revenue every year. It's 100% growth every year I've worked with. Now, so I'm looking, we've been good friends 7-8 years, and I've got doubled 5 times.
Which is just incredible. I mean, the first time you do it, that's one thing, but when you do it repeatedly,
yeah,
I mean, that's unbelievable.
We're working our Blessed Assurance off this year to double. We're planning on doubling again. We're incorporating some new things in there to really help us do it, but we are going to double again this year. I started coaching, but it would go up and down, Clay. That's when I came to you, as I was going up and down, and I wanted to go up and up instead of up and down. And so that's when it needed a system. So creating a system is you have nailed down specific steps that you're going to take no matter how you feel, no matter the results. You lean into them and you do them regardless of what's happening. You lean into them and it will give you X number of leads. You follow up with those leads, turns into sales. Well, I tell you, it's if you don't have a script and you don't have a system, then every day is a whole new creation. You're creating a lot of energy just to figure out what are you going to do.
Right.
And the best executives, Peter Drucker is a father of modern management. He said, the most effective executives make one decision a year. What you do is you make a decision, what is your system, and then you work like the Dickens to make sure you follow that system. And so that's really what it's all about. So with a script here, we have a brand new gal that just came in working for us. She nailed down the script, and she's been nailing down appointments. Usually we try to get one appointment for every 100 calls. We make 200 to 300 calls a day per rep.
Right.
And she's been nailing down 5 and 8 appointments a day.
Somebody out there's having a hard time.
That script.
So she's making how many calls a day?
She's making between 200 and 300 calls a day.
Whoa. And our relationship is weird in that we do. If someone were to buy an Apple computer today, and or let's say you bought a personal computer, a PC, the computer is made by, let's say, Dell, but then the software in the computer would be Microsoft, let's say, or Adobe or whatever that is. So I basically make the systems. And you're like the computer, and I'm like the software. It's kind of how I would describe our relationship. Yeah. Tim, I want to ask you this. You and I reconnected. I think it was in the year 2000 and what was it? Maybe 2010. Is that right? 2011, maybe, or no, maybe further down the road. Maybe 2013.
2012.
Okay, so 2012, and at that time I was 5 years removed from the DJ business, and you were how many years removed from tax and accounting software?
It was about 10, 11 years.
We met, how did we re-meet? What was the first interaction? There was some interaction where you and I first connected. I just remember that somehow you and I went to Hideaway Pizza. But do you remember when we first reconnected?
Yeah. Well, we had that speaking thing that...
there it was. So it was Victory Christian Center. I was speaking there.
My name is Robert Redmond. I actually first met Clay almost 3 years ago to the day. I don't know if he remembers it or not, but I wasn't working with him at the time. I asked to see him and just ask him some questions to help, direct my life, to get some mentorship. But I've been working with Clay for now just over a year. The role I play here is a business coach, business consultant. I work with different businesses, implementing best practice processes and systems that I have learned here by working with Clay. And the experience working here has, to put it real plainly, has been just life-changing. I have not only learned new things and have gained new knowledge, but I have gained a whole new mindset that I believe wherever I end up will serve me well throughout the rest of my life. Since working with Clay, I have learned so much. I mean, I would like to say almost everything about business in terms of the different categories. I haven't learned it all. But I've learned all about marketing. I've learned about advertising. I've learned about branding. I've learned how to create a sales process for organizations in any industry. I've learned how to sell. I've learned how to create repeatable systems and processes and hold people accountable. How to hire people. It's almost like every aspect of a business you can learn. I have learned a lot in those different categories. And then again, the mindset that I've gained here has been huge. Working here, you can't be a mediocre person. You are a call to a higher standard of excellence. And then as you're called to that standard here, you begin to see those outcomes in every area of your life. That standard of excellence that you want to implement no matter what you're involved in. I would like to describe the other people that work with Clay are people that are going somewhere with their life. Marshall in the group interview talks about how the best fits for this organization are the people that are goal-oriented. So they're on their own trajectory, and we're on our own trajectory. And the best fits are those people where there can be a mutually beneficial relationship, that as we pursue our goals and we help the business pursue those goals, the business helps us pursue our goals as well. And so I'd say people that are driven, people that want to make something of their lives, people that are goal-oriented, they're focused, and they're committed to overcoming any adversity that may come their way. Clay's passion for helping business owners grow their businesses it's unique in that I don't know if there's anyone else that can be as passionate. Whenever a business starts working with Clay, it's almost as like Clay is running that business in the sense that he has something at stake. He's just serving them. They're one of his clients, but it's as if he is actively involved in the business. Whenever they have a win, he's posting it all over his social media. He's shouting it across the room here at Thrive. He's sending people encouraging messages. He can kind of be that life coach and business coach in terms of being that a motivator and that champion for people's businesses. It's again unique because there's no one else I've seen get so excited about and passionate about other people's businesses. The kind of people that wouldn't like working with Clay are people that are satisfied with mediocrity. People that want to get through life by just doing enough, by just getting by. People who are not looking to develop themselves, people who are not coachable, people who think that they know it all and they're unwilling to change. I would say those are the type of people. In short, anyone that's content with mediocrity would not like working with Clay. So if you're meeting Clay for the first time, the advice I'd give you is definitely come ready to take tons of notes. Every time Clay speaks, he it gives you a wealth of knowledge that you don't want to miss. I remember the first time that I met Clay. I literally carried a notebook with me all around. I was looking at this notebook the other day, actually. I carried a notebook with me all around, and I just took tons of notes. I filled the entire notebook in about 3 or 4 months, just from being around Clay, following him, and learning from him. And then I would say, come coachable. Be open to learning something new. Be open to challenging yourself. Be open to learning and adjusting parts about you that need to be adjusted.